with all the big calls on all the big races. You know it. It's time for another What a Shout, filmed somewhere on a Friday morning in the capital. Balmy weather again out there. Dave Orton back with you, the Racing Post flagship feature weekend show with our sponsors, Bet365. Give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe on YouTube. All those subscribers went through the week last week. We'll be reflecting on Royal Ascot as well, but certainly looking forward to for you. We've got lovely racing this weekend. There's an Irish Derby, of course. There's a decent card at Newmarket in York, amongst many others, as usual. We've got a great Sunday as well. Let us know your thoughts. Feedback always appreciated. Anything on Facebook, get involved. Hashtag What a Shout. Let's go down the panel then. Delighted to say that Paul Kealy joins me back. How was the week, Keels? Royal Ascot?
I got through it just about okay, just about the right side of it. It wasn't my best tipping. I had 3 handicap winners, a few places, but the one who got away was Corker, obviously, who missed a break by a mile. I got involved in a couple of shorties that I shouldn't have done because I'm not very good at that, and I proved it again. So yeah, it was good. The racing was fantastic. Let's not argue about that. Disappointing to see the entire field come across to one side for the.
You've been a bit vociferous about the jocks this week, old boy.
Yeah. I mean, that I don't understand. Now,
has this not always been the case with them?
The entire week, it hadn't happened once until Noble Truth won the jersey. It hadn't happened once.
You mean stand side, right?
Stand side, and we'd had 4 winners from Trap 2 and 1 from Trap 1 earlier in the week, and they just decided for this race we're all going to come over here. And guess what? The best finisher from stalls 1 to 10 finished 9th. You know what I mean? It's completely bonkers.
I'm laughing, but I'm sure if our regular viewers will go, are they talking about this in 2020 and 2021?
Oh, yeah,
they follow the leader, don't
in
they?
2041.
Yeah.
It'll still happen. It'll be a completely different bunch of jockeys.
But it's still getting your goat.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot possibly win if you give that ground away.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going gradually. They come straight across. And it's just not possible. It's not possible to do it, and I don't know why they do it. Remember, Naval Crown won the Platinum Jubilee on the Stands Rail, yes, but he thrashed everything else on his side. Yeah. And the second and third came from stalls 1 and 2, and yet half an hour later, we've got to be over there. Crazy.
And how good was Ryan Moore, of course, in the Wokingham?
He knew it. He was superb, but then again. When he did get the rail, but then again, you could argue he was on the best horse because he won the race last year off a higher mark.
Yeah, I just thought it crowned a brilliant week for Ryan. That was great to see, wasn't it? Of course, the top jockey. I thought he timed that so well. Let's go to Pat Cooney then, who's back in Stoke after taking in the whole of the festival, as we call it. No matter what you think, Pat, that is a justified 5 days, isn't it? And while the racing might not have been the highest quality, our own Tom Segal did a nice piece about that earlier in the week, in relation to previous decades or whatever, what a breath of fresh air it was.
Absolutely, yes. And of course, it's 7 races every day now. I was lucky to be there for all 5 days. It was very, very warm, particularly on the Friday. But the racing was terrific. And I have to say, much has been made of Frankie Dettori, but you just touched on it there a little bit. Ryan Moore is probably riding better now than he has done in recent seasons. It doesn't matter how, holding him up, making the running. He's definitely got his mojo back, and it was a joy to watch, as well as the likes of Christoph Simeon on Perfect Power. It was great. As for me, I hit the crossbar most of the week, but I was saved by the each-way terms that are on offer at the moment. Hit the crossbar a little bit with Jumbie. I thought I sorted that race out. Once it had the high draw, I thought, OK, he's currently 20-1. He can't be a 20-1 chance if they all come stand side. They did. He went off 12, and he was only beaten a length in third. So could-haves and should-haves maybe for me.
There you go. It's tales of woe from the two men with me. It's ridiculous, isn't it? How did you get on? How was the week? Yeah, well, I lost on that and I lost on this. How did you get on out there? What was your highlight? Let us know below. Not even mention the internationals, of course, and Nature Strip. But in Nature Strip style, let's move on with the show rapidly. Well, it's a warm What a Shout welcome for the very first time to Midland trainer Karl Burke, who added to his haul of Royal Ascot winners last week. 2 in the bag, Karl. Must have been some week.
It was a good week, thank you very much. Yeah, very happy. It's great to do it on that world stage, and the horses performed really well.
We'll concentrate on the 2 winners and maybe a couple of others in just a second, but we've got a graphic for our viewers out there. Carl's been training longer than most of us have been in racing. 1991 when you started, Carl, wasn't it? Excellent website, by the way, out there, guys, if you want to check out Karl Burke Racing. Loads of stats, some interesting questions as well. Here are your top horses that we've got by Racing Post rating, Carl, 2000. You won't be able to see them, but at the top of that list is Quiet Reflection, your Commonwealth Cup winner, all the way down to El Caballo. Of course, 13 Group 1 wins in that time we've counted as well, 6 of them by the mighty Lawrence, everyone's favourite. We had our owner John Dance on the show earlier this year. That was always fun. Are we going to add to that list soon, though, with your 2 Royal Ascot winners? I mean, it's fair to say that Dramatised has caught most people's imagination now after what was a scintillating win in the Queen Mary. She pretty much broke the cock, Carl.
Yeah, she's a very high-class filly. We've got big hopes for her. We've been sort of thinking along the lines that we of Royal Ascot since early spring, and she's duly obliged. But I think we've only scratched the surface with her so far.
Yeah, I mean, a figure of 111 plus kills is kind of like heady territory, isn't it?
It's exceptional as well. I was going to ask, is the Nunthorpe in the thinking? I mean, she'd get something like £26 from the older horses. So?
Should definitely have an entry, but with the Steve Parkin, obviously, is well known he's local to York. He loves having a winner at York. But very much the Mornay, it looks the route that will go. Either that or the Lowther probably before the Nunthorpe. Nunthorpe sounds great and the weight sounds good, but it's still a tough ask taking on those older, bigger sprinters.
All right, good question asked. Yeah, she looks a little bit green to my eye still, Carl. Would that be fair to say at Ascot?
I think it is, yeah. She's if you watch the last 100 yards, you could see her almost a little bit like a giraffe. Her head was up looking at the stands. There's plenty for them to look at there. And as soon as Danny sort of eased her down, she's pricking her ears and a bit while to pull up. She was very much like that. There were a few pundits were saying it was the dip at Newmarket. I'm sure that didn't help. It's a little bit awkward, but it was greenness and just looking around as well that she got sort of a little bit unbalanced at Newmarket. And she was a lot better and a lot streetwise at Ascot, but still more to come.
There's some crazy stats here at the Racing Post. She's the fastest non-American trained 2-year-old filly in like 20 years or something, Carl. So potentially you've got the best 2-year-old in training out there at the moment. The best is yet to come, fingers crossed. Now, on the Saturday, Pat Cooney, you bumped into Karl Burke, you told me, just before we came on air, and you saw him before the Chesham was about to be run.
Yes, the last time I saw Karl, I was in the parade ring at Ascot on the Saturday. And I did actually go up to Karl and say what a fine-looking horse this Holloway Boy was. And it was his first run. Gorgeous-looking horse, and he was walking around the parade ring like a real old hand. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to put him in my play spot, which paid £79,000 for a pound. It was a real play spot buster, but he certainly looked the part. I wasn't expecting him to hit the front with 100 yards to go, mind you. But well done, Karl. He looks a fine prospect.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse, and you did pick him out, and he went round there like an old hand. You'd think he was life, and we went. Obviously, it's been well documented now why we entered him, but I wasn't going to run there thinking he was going to finish a furlong behind the ambulance. So I thought he was enough. Finished 4th or 5th. Had a nice introduction and then gone and won a novice. That was the plan that was in my head originally.
It was a good story, and by the way, well done for giving some credibility to the king of after-timers there, Pat Cooney. That was absolutely superb, wasn't it? 100 to 1 shot looks good. I mean, currying favour with the trainer, also managed to get a debutant. He was the first debutant winner of a 2-year-old race, wasn't he, since the old king died, I think. Carl, will he go to Goodwood next, potentially?
Potentially, yes. That would be the... Well, no, Newmarket is probably the first option, isn't it? The superlative. That comes a little bit quick. He's literally just gone out now 2 minutes ago. I'm just going to follow him up, and he's having his first canter since last Saturday. So we'll just play it by ear over the next few days, see how he is. But he certainly seems to have come out of the race well. But probably, if there was any doubts at all, then it would be the second race of the vintage.
Yeah, OK. Let's talk about some beaten horses at the meeting, if you don't mind. But before Kills asks you one, I want to hear how El Caballo came out of the Commonwealth Cup. It's fair to say he's a bit of a public horse, this Carl, because he went on that winning sequence, didn't he? You were slightly worried about the ground beforehand.
Yeah, it was always. I always felt it was going to be a bit quick for him, and then to get 20 of 20 on the day, very helpful. He came out of it a bit jarry, and we're going to give him a nice break now. We were sort of muting beforehand the Jacques Noir at Dover in August, but we've decided against it now. We've got a proper break, bring him back for September.
Oh, did we get another call?
Yeah, I was just trying to get rid of it now. I don't want to cut you.
A trainer's life. This is. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You should have seen Jim Goldie try and do it. We've got a template. Don't worry. Yeah, go on, Carl. Sorry to interrupt you.
He came out of the race pretty jarred up, so we're giving him a nice break, and we'll make an entry for the Haydock Sprint, and then he's got some lovely races to aim at through the autumn. So all's not lost. Still got a potential Group 1 horse on our hands.
Fingers crossed, all roads to lead back to Ascot on Champions Day, maybe then. Kills, this one particularly caught your imagination?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Only because I backed him, but I'm fully convinced that 2 winners should have been 3 because Corker came out and lost about 10 lengths at the start and only got beat 3.5. Just wonder what's the plan with him. He's obviously a Group horse in the making if he can get it right at the stalls.
Yeah, 100%. He was definitely one that should have won, really. We were unlucky because he's had 2 stalls tests and he's automatically goes in last with a blind. That happened. He goes in no problem. Cliff took the blind off because he was last in, and then a horse further down the line got his foot stuck on the ledge, so they had to. We were watching from the stands. We couldn't understand what the hold was. I mean, it was probably all 5 seconds, which seemed like an age. Of course, when the gates opened, whatever he did, he was messing around and got left. I didn't actually realise how far he was left till I came home and watched the replay. But he's definitely should have. We're probably going to look for a 5 furlong listed race somewhere, and he's a very progressive sprinter.
He certainly looked at York the time before, didn't he? Let's move on to a couple of runners tomorrow then, Carl, before we let you go and see your horses. I want to talk about Spycatcher, if you don't mind, in the 225, the Chip Chase at Newcastle. Now, it's fair to say he was a bit unlucky, wasn't he, on All Weather Championships Day. Going back there, cheap piece is now on.
Yeah, he was definitely another one that should have won. He should have won as well. But he jumps all right. He's just a little bit slow into his stride. He's not an ungenuine horse in any way. He's in great form. We had a few issues with his feet, but we've got that out of the way now. That he seems fine. He's working really well. We jumped him with the sheepskins on, and he was electric out the stalls there a few days ago. I think he goes there with a great chance. OK,
let's move to Newmarket as well, if you don't mind. The Memorial Empress Fillies listed stakes. It's a track that you've got a really good record on, isn't it? The July course, Carl, especially with your 2-year-olds. Miss Jungle Cat, another one trying head here for the first time.
Yeah, she's not ungenuine, I don't think, but she's tough. She only does what you ask her at home. She was nicely first time out, which surprised us over 5 furlongs. She definitely wants to step up to the 6 furlong. Disappointed. Actually, didn't run that bad at Ponty against, I think it was Pontefract. We ran her and took on a few colts and didn't run that bad. She's working really well. I think she's a little bit overpriced, I think she goes there with a chance of getting some black type.
Great stuff. All right, then. You heard it there, a little bit overpriced. For anyone lucky enough to be watching this on Friday night rather than the Saturday, Carl, one filly that definitely catches my eye because she popped it out when she made her debut at York was in the 5:15, the opening race at Newmarket. Looks like a wide open heat, but Poppy Carew's going to eat up that final furlong, isn't she?
Yeah, she's second there this morning to Newmarket, and she looks in great order. Haven't gone through the race closely, but she will step up in good style from that first run. I did say Nick Bradley won the race, and I did say that mercy of Grant Chewers of Nick's wouldn't beat her again. He runs that in the stakes tomorrow, so that's what they think of that. We go there with a good chance tonight.
Absolutely superb. Carl, busy morning for you. Thanks ever so much for coming on. Congratulations again on what was a startling week. Another great season, 57 winner mark. That's about to be smashed, no doubt. All the best from us here at What a Shout for the rest of 2022.
Appreciate that. Thanks very much. And I'll work on my technical skills next time.
Absolutely brilliant. Cheers, Carl.
Good luck.
Let's get into some big race previews for you then this weekend. 5 of them coming your way, and while some people see this weekend as a bit of after the Lord Mayor show with Royal Ascot, I have to say I'm really looking forward to this weekend. And starting off, great card always, 3 days, 2:25 at Newcastle, up there on the Tapeta. Pat Cooney, it's the Chip Chase.
It is, and some very familiar faces, and some of these have got good course and distance form, which is always important. But the market is all about one horse, Sense of Duty of William Haggis, Tom Marquand. They can't do much wrong this season, and nor can she. She's won her last 2 races in good style. She's favourite. She's going to be very popular. She's not there on official rating. She has a bit to find as of yet. But, you know, she beat a horse last time out called Flotus, who ran ever so well in the Commonwealth Cup at Royal Ascot. And if you take that form literally, that may be just about the best recent form out there. So she's going to be very, very popular. As I say, not completely there in the form book, but we've seen this film before, haven't we, with William Haggis and Tom Marquand and these improving 3-year-olds. Yeah,
I have to say, this is the one fav I'm going for.
Is it?
Yeah, I ummed and ahed with some old friend of ours. I backed Spycatcher. We spoke to Karl Burke about him there. When he was third on the Weather Championship, he should have won. I just think he'll be finding something too classy. I think this might be it. It's just a team this year that are not missing when they go for it. I like her draw in 7. I think she's going to tag on to Your Hope and hopefully pounce late.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you can see the argument. She beat Flotus. Flotus comes out, finishes 3rd in the Commonwealth Cup. But, I mean, it's priced into what isn't priced into the fact is that Flotus obviously improved from Haydock to Ascot. And Sense of Duty's official rating is 101, which makes her the 2nd or 3rd worst horse in the race at the moment. Now, we know she's won 3 in a row. She's improving. She's having her first run on Tapeta. Her sire showcasing has a fair record on Polytrack, but his strike rate on Tapeta is barely half.
You've been doing some more weather stats, Keels. Look at you.
You've got to have a look, haven't you? So I think it's like a 7% strike rate at Newcastle, 6% at Dundalk, something like that. So it's low. It's a low strike rate, so they've got that question mark to answer. If you want to back something at under 2-1, I think you need all the eggs in the basket, and I don't think they're all there.
Well, let me just counter that slightly, because I look at the likes of Edrock. I think she'll be beating him. I look at Ebro River, he'll be there to be shot at if he runs like he did last time. Happy Power just doesn't really deliver on the big days, unless not in this sort of company. Judicial probably had his day. Magical Spirit's going to be there, and Bielsa, all roads lead back.
You're almost making my case, aren't you?
Well, there is one horse in here who, at around about 6-1, I will be saving on, and it is.
They are cracking. Look around. There's up to 5 places on offer in this race in places, and Glen Shield finishes out of the first 3. I'll be staggered. He hasn't hit top form this year. He's run twice. He's been behind Brad the Brief both times. Yeah. First time at Haydock, second time in the Group 2 at the Curragh. But he's an 8-year-old. He's entitled to need a couple of runs. He's run at Newcastle 5 times. He's finished 1-3-2-1-1. You know, here's a horse over the past year and a bit has won a Group 1, finished 2nd in 3 more. He's rated 114, easily the highest rated horse in the race, and he's 6-1, and it's crazy. He should be nearly favourite in my view. People are putting potential over, but he's not even second favourite. And
does he have to make it these days? That's the question.
I don't think he necessarily has to, but Holly's going to bounce him out and be prominent.
He's won there, of course, like you say.
And he likes the track.
Yeah.
It's a, you know what I mean? It takes some getting at Newcastle, especially with it riding, standard to slow rather than just standard. So we'll take a bit of getting. He just likes it there. He's top class at his best. Like I said, he's been finished 2nd in 3 Group 1s and won 1. And I think he's an amazing price.
He let me down last year, as I've said to you. It's that
that's it. You don't let these horses off, do you?
Isn't it? Yeah.
You don't let horses off.
I've not let him off, but I will be back in the fav and saving on Glen Shield as well. I don't think it's a strong race apart from that. From 6 furlongs, let's go to Newmarket next for the 240. It is, of course, the Archer Stakes, the Fred Archer Stakes. And again, Pat, this looks like an interesting market to me, coupled with plenty to prove.
Yeah, it's a race of negatives, really, isn't it? You've got Rebels Romance, who won the UAE Derby a while ago, but not seen much of him to enthuse about in his 2 starts this season. Kamari, well, he's capable of winning, isn't he? But he was only 4th of 6 last time out. I suppose something enticing has a bit to do. So I was left with either Stowell or Universal Order. Again, they wouldn't be that far behind on official ratings. I thought Stowell ran well at Royal Ascot. It was a mile 6. I thought, hello, he's coming to win. Maybe the stamina ran out. This is a drop back to 1.5 miles. So I see wisdom in thinking he might run well. Universal Order, again, a solid option. But in terms of the good golfing pair, Rebels, Romance and Kamari, they do look a bit fragile at the top of the market to me. So I think maybe worth opposing the pair of them.
I can hear you rubbing your hands because something stinky about the market leaders in this race means that it's an interesting race.
I'm not rubbing my hands at all, actually. This is, the least appealing betting race on TV, isn't it? I mean, a 5-runner race.
I might counter against that in a minute.
Well, no, I do think it's a 5-runner race where you can pick holes in everything. Rebels Romance is the best horse based on that UEA win. He's never actually run on grass. Now, he's by Dubai. So you'd actually think there should be a problem. We saw what happened with Real World when he came over.
It's Real World sticking in the head.
When he came over, if he takes the grass, he wins. I mean, William Buick, I'm assuming, would have had the choice over him and Kamari. So if Kamari's 7-2, 2-1, probably fair enough. I'm not having a bet in the race. I'd say Rebels Romance, if he bounces back, is the best horse. But you want to back a 2-1 shot who's been tailed off in his last 2 starts. You don't, do you?
No. I'll tell you what. I don't want to be with the Fav. I don't like Stoll because I think this is an afterthought and he's caught in between trips. Kamari absolutely had his chance last time at York when he bossed a terrible pace. Something exciting might be the one that's overpriced, but I think Universal Order, if he builds on that massively eye-catching Haydock return, he probably is, well up to this class. He was pencilled in for Royal Ascot. Whether the ground might have been a bit lively there, I'm not sure. He probably is a horse that needs breaks. He's lightly raced for his age. Watch that back in your members club. You can do that on your replays. He's the one to be with here if he can hold himself together. It's a bit of an if, but we're getting a price there. Shall we go to Ireland next? It's the Curragh. Of course, the Irish Derby at 3.45, but we've got the Railway Stakes first at 3.05. Now, I won't come to Pat with this yet because at the time of filming, no market on Bet365. It will appear rapidly by the time we're filming. Don't worry about that. Interesting stat about the Railway Stakes. You click on the past winners, assuming to see AOB O'Brien. He's won it twice since 2009. You can hardly name them. Painted Cliffs and Van Beethoven. You mentioned it to me, and I can't even remember Painted Cliffs. I remember he ran at Royal Ascot, I think, and he was an all right horse, but it was Go Bears Go, like that, Siskin before that. Cool Company won it for the Hannons. This is one where I think I'm going to take a flyer.
Go on then. Tell us what you're going to take a flyer
What's
with.
it called? Remind myself. You had to bat that one back to me. I was just about to go in between there. It is. What's it called? Chartrash, down the bottom. Now, Age of Kings is in this race. He blew out in the Coventry behind Blackbeard, who reopposes. And Age of Kings should have beaten him on his debut when they met. It was slightly easier ground. But Chartrash has been kept for this. Age of Kings turning up quickly, I don't like. He was really flat at Royal Ascot, I thought. And I like this. It was a figure of 97. It doesn't give him that much to find if he improves again. Crispy Cat is the interesting one, I suppose, Kills, isn't it? Away from them, I think we can all agree. Very unlucky not to have gone very close in the Norfolk when he got wiped out by the Riddler. I just wonder whether he really is going to want this stiff finish over 6, looking at his pedigree. And he was beaten in our national stakes, wasn't he? I wonder whether... I bet he gets overbet, that horse, because everyone's remembering what happened. This, again, will be an afterthought. For me, it's Johnny Murtaugh's colt.
Right, OK, fair enough. I'm with the Jolly here. I think Blackbeard will win.
Give me the reason.
I'll tell you what. First of all, I think we all thought on paper that the Coventry was a very good one this year, and just because he got beaten as favourite doesn't mean it wasn't. He was 5-2 favourite, he was 4th. I think he ran OK. I don't think the ground was to his favour. I think he might want a little bit easier than it was. But I think he ran fine. I think he'll like the stiff finish.
He was coming back, wasn't it, at the finish?
I do think he's got the best. I do think he's got the best form going into the race.
He did the best of those forcing the pace as well in the Coventry.
Yeah, so I think I think he will be. I think he'll be tough to beat. Now I understand the O'Brien record. That sort of thing doesn't really worry me. I don't see anything that's scaring me too much. So
I just wonder if it means that his horses in this are more of an afterthought. It seems a long time ago that George Washington won it and Master Craftsman. Top notches for him.
Yeah, so there you go. He has won it with top notches. Now, I don't think Blackbeard is a potential top notcher, I must admit, but I do think he's good enough to win this race unless one of the others improves a lot. All
right, Pat Cooney, what do you make of this? Do we think Blackbeard will go off Fav?
I think he may narrowly go off favourite, but it's tight, isn't it? He beat Crispy Cat by a short head back in May. Crispy Cat, of course, I think the public do latch on to these unlucky losers, don't they? And every time we see a clip of him at Royal Ascot, we're all going to go, well, he would have won. Up in Furlong, I think that's fine. Well, I can say with Age of Kings, he was on the face of it disappointing in the Coventry, but connections back both, Blackbeard and Age of Kings. So Age of Kings was disappointing, but he's been turned out quickly. I just think it's a real conundrum. I've been asked to go from Royal Ascot to the Curragh after 10 or 11 days. Tricky. I see Wisdom in Chartash. That's not run for 49 days, and maybe that is the target. I'm just going to go with Crispy Cat, though. I just felt that possibly he achieved more at Royal Ascot than the other ones did, but very tight race.
It's going to be a very interesting race, and I think we're going to be learning more about the 2-year-old puzzle going forward. That's a Railway Stakes, then we'll be back to the Curragh after we pop back to Newcastle, and we're going all over the distances today. I'm delighted to say it's 3:30, not 3:31 or 3:32 this. It's the Northumberland's Plate, the Pitman's Derby, of course. This is one of the big races of the year up there, and who heads the market with Bet365 at the time of filming, Pat?
At the moment, Rajinsky, who you could say was a little bit unlucky last year when was only third. And the Chester Cup form looks pretty good, doesn't it? Cleveland ran honourably at Royal Ascot, just got beat. And the runner-up Coltrane came out and won. So good course form, good recent form. Worthy favourite, drawn 16, I suppose that's okay. We've laid plenty in the race. We're obviously expecting Trushan to be popular with Holly Doyle. It wouldn't matter if she had 9-8, 10-8 or 11-8. She's a very popular rider. That one will shorten up. Anti-post-wise, we've laid one Smooth Operator, who was last of 6 last time. On the face of it, you think, well, why is that then? But it was an improved run. But, you often get this, don't you? Handicappers running above their form in non-handicaps, so maybe that will drift. My eye is drawn to Fally Vorge. I just thought when he won the Melrose last year in the Ebor meet, and I just presumed he was going to be one of these, maybe even have a crack at the Legend, certainly be running in Group 1 races. It didn't work out. He got beaten his next 3 runs. Back in business at Haydock last time out. Number 17 on the race card. I thought he might have been a little bit higher up than that. So I still view him as a horse of potential and well handicapped. Drawn 15, that's fine. Obviously a wide open race, but Fally Vorge. Just go back to the Melrose from you think, why is he not even 100 yet? But he's only 93, so he'll do me.
Yeah, he'll do me as well, Pat. He's a horse that I put up as a nap when he won at Haydock last time. I think he won despite things going wrong in the final furlong for him as well. This has been the plan. I'm surprised not favourite, actually. We've got to talk about Trushan, haven't we, first and foremost? The hokey-cokey that was last week is over.
Yeah, I mean, he can't do it, can he?
He's £2 higher than when he was beaten last year.
Well, he's £2 higher than when he was beaten last year. He had a claim on last year and he carried 9 stone 13. And now he's got Holly on, he's got to carry 10 stone 8. Remember that, big handicaps like these, it's not like a jump, it's not like the Hennessy or whatever, when if a Gold Cup winner goes in there, he carries set weight of 11 stone 12, and if anything else is rated too low, they're out of the handicap. Here, we penalise the good horse and give him more weight. So the actual top weight is normally 9 stone 12. He's got 10 stone 8 because he's rated £10 over 110.
What's the thinking on that?
It's a massive ask.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming over jumps it's a welfare issue because they don't, back in the day, Arkle used to go 12 stone 10 and stuff like, you know what I mean? But that sort of thing doesn't happen anymore. So he gets punished for it. Everything is in the handicap. This is the point.
Yeah.
There isn't a single horse out of the handicap. He's got to give all that weight away. Couldn't do it last year. I mean, if he wins off 120, he's the best stayer in Britain and Ireland by a country mile.
Well, there are staying handicappers think he is anyway.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean by a long way.
Yeah.
I don't just mean just.
This would be getting serious accolades, wouldn't it?
He want, to win a big handicap, you probably need between £7 and £10 ahead of you.
They're not going there to win, I don't think, are they? Because it's putting in Cherry right for Goodwood, surely.
Cherry right for Goodwood and hoping to get a bit of rain. What
Yeah.
I mean? Otherwise, it's just autumn campaign all the way, isn't it?
Fine.
We'll go back to France and then we'll come back and we'll go to Ascot again like they did last year. So obviously they want to get a run into him, but is he serious? Is he a serious contender? I don't think so, and he's way too short. I think he will drift on the day and be a fair bit bigger. So
I think we had to go meaty on him, Kills, because loads of punters out there would just be seeing Trushan's name and just going,
it's a
here he
monster
is.
task. I mean, he's an absolute monster task. I mean, I've backed 2 in a race. I've backed Spirit Mixer for Andrew Baldwin, a horse that was on a roll. The 4-timer didn't come off at Chester last time, but he was I know it was only a small field, but he was on wide and keen on the outside all the time, lost his place after about half a mile. I thought he did quite well to finish within just about 3 lengths of the winner, and actually on RPRs it was another career best. So I think he still has that upward trajectory. He's only a 4-year-old. And I've taken a chance on a summer's night. Now, he was only 5th of 6 to Nate the Great on his return. Wasn't a good run at all. So Mark Prescott's horses hadn't been running well, and they're still not running great, to be fair. But he is a big price. When he won 5 times last year, and on his final start of the season, he won in a common canter, beating Cardano and All Right Sunshine, who's got a really good record at Haydock too. And he just looked completely different class. Afterwards, Luke Morris says, there's a chance he'll develop into a cup horse. Now, he's obviously had his issues because he's only run once with a stable out of form and that, but he's got a mark of 96. Now, if he ever becomes a cup horse, then 96 is, a good stone too low. Now he needs to prove it, of course, but when you look at his runs last year, he went too soon at York in the Melrose, was absolutely cruising into the straight, but went miles too soon, got well beat there. And the 5 races he won were only small races, but the other big race that he ran in, he was second to Tashcan in the old Newton Cup, and Tashcan was rated something like 84 then. You know what I mean? And
he went on to Champions
He's rated
Day
115 now because he was second to True Shane at Champions Day. So I've no doubt whatsoever that this horse has got a decent race in him if he's back. And because he was about 20 to 1, he's probably still 16s. I'm still going to take a chance with him.
I remember your project with this horse last year, and a few other people were on it as well. And you're right. It was listening to you what you said then. He's a cruiser, isn't he? He's not your typical Luke Morris Prescott, catch me if you can, keep finding horse. He has got a bit of class about him.
He's a traveller. He doesn't want delivering as early as he got. And I think what happened, he tugged him into the race because he had a low draw. He took a prominent position at York, and he just.
I remember it.
He just. They sort of fell away in front of him. He suddenly found his way in front, and
served it up for Valley Forge, didn't he?
Yeah. He just come down the middle and. Yeah, it wasn't, and I'd always forgive a horse a bad run at York anyway. So, he's got another low draw. Hopefully, hopefully he won't hit the front too soon. But, I think there's definitely a big race to be won with him.
When this race was on turf back in the day, you had to be drawn low, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't actually matter now at all.
Yeah. All right, OK, that's the Pitman's Derby. Good luck wherever you're playing 3:30, a couple of arrows to help you. The final big race preview for you, it's classic time over at the Curragh. Now, you've definitely got a market for this, Pat Cooney, which must have been turned on its head midweek.
Yeah, Tuesday is favourite for the Irish Derby now, and Westover, he's got every chance, hasn't he? He's a solid second favourite. But Aidan O'Brien, talk about his stats, he's won this, 14 times? And to rely on Tuesday, when he could have run another couple in the race, just to give himself the options, to rely on only one, I think maybe says an awful lot about what they think about Tuesday's chances. Of course, she gets the fillies allowance, which is only £3, but I think she's sure to go a favourite. Are any of the front two value, though, Tuesday and Westover? I mean, Westover, everyone's saying he was unlucky in the Derby. He was only third, though, wasn't he? And the winner was eased down. I'm not so sure he was that desperately unlucky. Yes, he should have been second, but that's about it. So there's 8 runners as we speak. There's each way angles in the race. I'm going to go for David Manoussier and Jamie Spencer with Lionel, who won at Goodwood on soft ground. He looks like he's going to be better on better ground and a better track, more stiffer track like this than Goodwood. So Lionel appeals to me from an each way angle. I think the front two, they're obvious, but they're no bargains for me at the top of the market.
I love it how these connections get to call their horse Terry.
Yeah,
Simon.
Yeah, brilliant.
Lionel.
Tim was my favourite years ago, the chaser.
Is that right? Way before my time, I have to say. But it is refreshing to see, and these connections do it brilliantly. Now, this race, there's been a little bit, some Debbie Downers on this race this week, haven't there? We did a piece in the paper saying what's happened to this race. Usually it's about one horse. It's obviously after our Derby. It's after Royal Ascot.
It's, races come in and out of favour, certain ones, don't they? There was a time, some years ago, when, the Irish Derby meant nothing. Then it got a real boost. The old Budweiser days and whatever, you know what I mean? And then, you would have, you'd have French Derby winner coming over, the Epsom winner coming over, and all
we had Cracksman one year, didn't we?
It'll come back into focus. I wouldn't do anything with it. We say, there was talk. I know one of my colleagues has suggested that it should be reduced in distance. I don't think that's the way to go at all. I will say that, with Tuesday running in here, it might say how much Aidan O'Brien thinks of Tuesday, but it also says an awful lot about how much they think of their colts.
Where's Luxembourg?
They're in the business of making stallions
at
the end of the day, and to not have a colt in the Irish Derby is staggering. So I think, she's in it because they haven't got one that they think can beat Westover, or haven't got one ready anyway, because we don't know what's happened with Luxembourg.
Well, Stone Age was the one we were kind of expecting, and all of a sudden in the week it looked like Changing of the Guard, who, let's face it, looks like he might be a cup horse next year. He was then promoted in the market, and then the vibes started coming, didn't they?
Yeah.
And you can see it, of course, and she's getting the weight, and if we were to go, they say fillies with this weight allowance, but it's only £3.
Well, it's one of those. There's certain camps that think that Emily Upjohn was unlucky in the Oaks and should have beaten Tuesday, and that Westover was unlucky in the Derby. Now I think Westover was unlucky not to finish second. I don't think he'd have won. I originally thought that Emily Upjohn was really unlucky at Epsom. And the more times I looked at that, people have pointed it out. Well, hang on a minute. With a furlong and a bit to go, Emily Upjohn was in front of Tuesday.
Yeah, she was delivering with every chance, wasn't she?
She was delivering with every chance. It was on the nod. I think Tuesday's has quickened up really well. And on the inside of the track too. So I don't think we should knock her at all. She is potentially very good. I'd just give her the nod over Westover. I think both of them are way, way clear on what they've done so far, which they should be. They've run in classics and been in the first three, and the others haven't. But I do think, or the ones that haven't run in classics, the ones that have, I'd rule out already. So I think one of the two will win. I'll edge towards Tuesday. The others have got to step up in a big way.
I'm the other way. I think Westover comes in slightly fresher, and my worry about Tuesday is that she's had a pretty hard year already.
Tough though, aren't they, these open?
Well, that's the thing. They are very tough, and if we go Peeping Fawn and great fillies like that who just kept improving Snowfall, more racing they have. I wonder whether she's one of those. Of course, she's open to improvement at the distance. But I just think going right-handed might be... I just think it's perfect for Westover. A little bit more juice, if I had to put some icing on the cake, would be ideal. There is rain at the Curragh, but I don't think it will come in time. But I thought he was, definitely unlucky not to finish a clear second. He wouldn't have beaten Desert Crown. But he'll do for me, Westover. All right, there you go then. That is your big race preview circuit finish for this Irish Derby weekend. OK, the moment a lot of you have been waiting for. It's been a great show so far. Let's see if we can top it off with some weekend winners for you. It's nap time. Paul Kealy, take the floor.
I'll go Glen Shiel in the chip chase. I can't believe you can get your money back for a place, to be honest. I think he should be much shorter than he is.
Nice, sweet and simple there. Loads of places on offer for Keel's nap at 2.25. Pat Cooney.
Yeah, 150 at Newcastle. Strike red for the informed Richard Fahey. Form figures 96004, but the 4 was a very good run. Only beat the length last time out. Same handicap mark. He looks a winner waiting to happen to me. And then you add in the Brucey bonus. He's been to this track 3 times and won twice. So I got the track, I got a horse return into form and a trainer in form. So strike red in the 150 at Newcastle.
2 tipping specialists putting up 2 course specialists. Then I will go to the 240 at Newmarket. Horrible looking market this if you fancy one of the market leaders. Universal order for me. I very nearly went Westover, but I think this will give you a juicier price. He can definitely take this out the 6-year-old. There's your treble. OK, sadly that's all we've got time for on this week's What a Shout. Thank you for joining us out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done that so far. Give us a thumbs up and get your comments in below. We read them throughout the weekend. What does the weekend hold for Paul Kealy?
I've got a Barbie tomorrow.
Yeah, you love a Barbie, man.
Yeah, good fun, isn't it? Yeah. Plenty of meat.
On
go and make a mates for a Barbie after racing. So, yeah, be good.
OK, all right. Good luck with Glen Shiel, mate. And see you next week, Kill. See you next week, Pat Cooney. Where are you this weekend?
I'm day off tomorrow, but I'm heading off to Toaster for the final of the Greyhound Derby. £175,000 to the winner. Can you believe that? So you'll see me at Toaster on the Dogs Saturday, and I'm at Utoxeter, also known as Utopia round here, for we sponsor on the card there. So say hello to me at either Toaster or Utopia.
There you go. There's a couple of links there, basically. Karl Burke, would you believe it, had his first ever winner over hurdles at Toaster. And, of course, there is a Greyhound Derby preview out there on our YouTube channel as well. The guys have been scintillating on with their tips. Check it out. Don't forget, of course, to check out the must-have Racing Post app. If you haven't done that, you can download it free. You can do it on the Google Play Store or the App Store itself. Don't forget, guys, gamble responsibly, please, this weekend. So for myself, Dave Orton, signing off. Enjoy the sport.